We on the podcast, baby.
Club Talk. Jay Brody. Yeah, baby, it's that Club Talk. Yeah, baby, it's that Club Talk. You're now listening to that Club Talk. And now, your host, Jay Brody. 1, 2.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Club Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Brody. If this is your first time checking out the podcast, appreciate you for tuning in, for joining. You could have clicked on any other podcast, but you clicked on mine, and I'm very appreciative of that because time is a valuable thing that we all have, so I'm definitely appreciative of that. Before I introduce my guest for today, who I'm excited and eager to talk to, shout out to the people who support the podcast. I want to shout out HelloBlackmanJournal.com. That's an entity that my man, what's my man name? Jamie Jenkins. Almost had a brain fart there. Jamie Jenkins out there in Jackson, Mississippi, started this organization, HelloBlackmanJournal.com, where he utilizes the art of journaling to reach the youth to help them get their thoughts out onto paper. And also, it's for girls too. So boys and girls can take advantage of this. So if you have nieces, nephews, sons, daughters, you want to get your hands on journals, some merch, some other things. And if you're locally out there in Jackson, Mississippi, they throw conferences out there and do a lot in the community. So once again, that is HelloBlackmanJournal.com. If you are needing any graphics, any web design, any flyer creations, anything like that, to visually represent your brand or business, whatever you got going on, hit up theflyeragency.com. Trained by my man Deontay Tatum out there in Dayton, Ohio. Last but not leastly, if you're trying to get on your health shit, you're trying to get right locally right here in Columbus, you want to hit up the Whitehall Nutrition Lounge. If you're familiar with Columbus and Broad Street, it's right off of Broad, right on Yearling Road. That is Whitehall Nutrition Lounge. Okay, man. Here we go. Let me give this man a proper introduction. Owner, father, podcaster, poet, and now published author. Representing the GoodLife Brand heavy. Host of the GoodLife Kickback Podcast. Russ is here. Y'all probably know him as the GoodLife Russ. Russ is here, man. How we feeling today, man?
I feel real good,
you
man.
came in here good spirits, ready to get it cracking.
Yeah, this is me like every day, all day.
This is you all day.
Stay ready.
I love it. I love it. Like, you don't have to like get yourself together. You like, hey, I'm ready to roll when you ready to roll.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's go.
Yeah, I've been manifesting it since we talked about it. I was excited. I seen your show and I like what you got going on.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. And that's exactly where I wanted to start off at too, man. So for those who don't know, so a lot of people, they sometimes, and I'm pretty sure you probably get this too as a fellow podcaster, a lot of people, like, they'll ask, like, hey, how do you get your guests, or where do you get your guests from? Or either if someone wants to be on there, they say, how can I get on there? So, like, I think people underestimate, and they don't do it enough, just the power of just reaching out. Like, so Russ, he just reached out, sent a DM, say, yo, man, I like your podcast, I fuck what you doing, I'd love to be a guest. That's simple. It's that simple. And here we are. So I want people who are either, if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening, and you're kind of apprehensive or don't know how to approach, whether it's me or if you want to approach someone else and you got your own platform going on, collaborating with other people who do the same shit that you do is only going to magnify both of you. You know, so don't look at it like, he ain't gonna fuck with me, or I don't even know what to say or how to approach it. You gonna think I'm on his dick or some shit, like, cause like the ego fuck you up, and you can kill a lot of opportunities that way. Yeah. So let's start there. Why do you think people don't do that enough? Just the reaching out part, cause it's so simple.
I could write a book about that topic, but I would say first off, I think it's humility. I don't think a lot of people, like you said, I think a lot of people's ego are too big. And I think some people look at what they're doing and feel like, well, people should be reaching out to me. And that's already like a toxic mindset going into it. You know what I mean? So not much fruitful is gonna come from it. You're already going into it on some bull.
Your mindset is already fucked up from the jump. Yeah, because I think they'll see something and they be like, "Oh, I wanna," and they just like talk themselves out of it. Like, what? No, go ahead. Like, no. But then like, I fuck with what he or she doing, but they shouldn't be noticing me first, like you said.
Yeah. Or that fear of rejection, like you said.
Rejection, yeah. Like
fear of failure.
Yeah.
There's so many levels and so many things
it
can be.
But you gotta be. Here's what I learned over the years too. Like I'll say this to add to that. Like over the years, I've learned that you gotta be willing and accepting of rejection.
Absolutely.
Because everything's not going to be a yes.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey, if I reach out to this guy or girl or whatever, this company, whoever it is, I also have to know that it may be a no.
Yeah. Yeah. And you got to be prepared for the no. I feel like with anything in life, like, I don't ask for something without accepting the fact I may not get it. I don't feel like there's no humility, there's no grace in that. You know what I mean? Because now I feel like you just, this is something you want, not something you need. You know what I mean? Because the things you need changes as your life going from 2 to age 20 to age 52. You know what I mean? You're going to need different things in your life.
Yeah.
So we got to be accepting of that. And I feel like that's how we mature. You know what I mean?
I feel that. Do you think, because now that you say that, it's made me think of something. Do you think that the age of like, the social media shit has played a factor into that? Because I think social media in a way has made us antisocial in a certain form. Yeah, like a lot of communication skills are like just like the human interaction is strange to people now. It's like, oh shit. Yeah. It's like you don't even know what to say because we're so with the texting or just the DMing or I don't know, like it's weird. It seems like social media has stunted just growth as human interaction. You know?
I can see where you're going with that, and I get what people.
I've been observing that,
but I would say social media has had an effect on us greatly, but not in that way. I would say social media just sped things up. So for me, I don't think like money or social media changes a person. I think it just takes away their filter. It just makes them be more of themselves. You get what I'm saying? Because when you don't have certain leverages in life, you gotta wear a disguise. You gotta be who you need to be to get what you need. So once you become a Drake or somebody, like you don't gotta do all that no more. Like you can shave your head, you can paint your nails, you can do whatever you want.
You finesse your way in there.
Yeah, so I don't think all that money and all that made them want to start doing this stuff. Yeah. I think now that social media, that fame that comes with it, or that rejection that comes with it, just shows us now more of who you are. That's what I mean. It speds it up. So when we were younger, you feel me, everybody was trying to figure out who they were. So nobody knew who they were to begin with. Right. And then as we started getting older, a lot of people weren't progressing. You know what I mean? They were staying the same. They were staying 18 and staying 19.
Stagnant.
Yeah, exactly. And so others is just kept progressing. Social media sped that up because now it's showing you their progress every single day.
You get to see it in real time.
You would have just been able to see it at school or be able to see it if I go to the club and you there, which that's ever so often. Right. You know what I mean? Now I can tune into it every day, 24/7. You can go on somebody's page and be reminded like where you're not in life. So again, I don't think you seeing that now makes you a bitter person. I think you already were a bitter person, and now just all the filters are out the window. So it's the wild, wild west. Like people, you gotta be who you are now. You feel me? You can't hide behind those disguises no more.
No, it's out there.
Yeah,
because everybody's recording themselves. Everybody got a platform. It's like everyone has their own little TV show. Yeah, exactly. Like, and everybody's performing and shit. It's like tune into the Goofy show with this motherfucker.
That's a perfect way of putting it.
It really is. Okay, man. So first time on the show. Yeah. So for my listeners, people probably want to know like who the hell is Russ? Like who is this guy? Tell the people, because we got a lot to cover, a lot to talk about. I want to talk to you about obviously this book. Okay. So for y'all on the camera, for those who are watching on YouTube and Facebook.
Awesome.
Right there, if y'all can see that, I'll zoom in.
That's my baby.
Yeah, the Spiritual Wolf King, self-help guide to loving yourself and finding peace. So we're gonna talk about that in a second. But before we get to this book and the whole Good Life brand and the whole platform and all that good stuff, and we'll talk about your podcast and all that stuff. Who is Russ? Give people a little.
So I'm several things. I'm who I need to be. You know what I mean? Like I grew up watching anime. A lot of shout out to everybody seen Dragon Ball Z.
Anime lover.
So you know how like Super Saiyans have many different levels, and they got to rise to each level depending on the occasion. Sometimes they don't need to go Super Saiyan at all. You feel me? So I'm several things, but what I like to think of myself the most is like a revolutionary, like an activist. You know what I mean? I fight for change, like I fight for the progression of our people. Like
heavy,
yeah, like that's important to me. You know what I mean? Purpose and intention. I do things deliberately. Like that's important to me. So I try to make sure I'm consistent. I try to make sure I'm embodying education and growth. You know what I mean? And peace and happiness. And teaching people what that is, because a lot of people think that's smiling and, being happy every day. It's not that. Like, happiness is a choice, and you got to choose it every single day. And to me, it's putting yourself first. It's choosing your peace. It's choosing to love on yourself and investing into yourself, regardless of your past. You know what I mean? Yeah. Certain things have happened to us where it's easy to not love on ourselves. We got to, release all that stuff and move on. So, that's why I'm a healer. You know what I mean? And I've been through so much stuff. I was just like, man, I don't want to see other people have to go through that.
Yeah.
So it became my purpose to, educate people, but also better myself.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Nice.
But, yeah, I'm a father, a poet. I love doing events. I love sports. I was a hooper. That was my primary thing. You feel me? Then I ended up getting hurt. That didn't work out. Yeah. But it was cool. It just wasn't my path. And then I coached a little bit, and that was cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've done everything, man. I worked jobs a little bit. Found out that wasn't for me. So I retired from jobs in 2015. That was the last time I had a job. So now I'm just self-employed. I had a shoe store. You know what I mean?
Shoe store?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I like art too. You know what I mean? I'm like a Renaissance man.
Say, you're a Renaissance man.
Yeah. So I
dibble-dabbling everything.
I like to do everything, and I like to be a part of everything because I feel like we don't really know what something is until we experience it. And it's good to read about it. You can watch it. You can listen to somebody talk about it, but it's not the same as you doing it yourself.
Wow.
I love to cook. You know what I mean? I look for the art and everything. That's who I am. You know what I mean?
I love that.
And when people get around me, I want them to be inspired and motivated. That's on, I'm that hope, in all my circles. You know what I mean? I'm the one to all right, let's go. We got it. You feel me? Even if we down in the fourth, we about to win.
Yeah. You're not out here telling people, oh, this is what you can't do.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to. That's why I got into therapy, because I want to give them the tools to help themselves too. I also don't want followers or people who are dependent on me. You know what I mean?
Want them to be self-sufficient.
Yeah, exactly. Because it'll go a further way. Because I may have been showing you this lesson or teaching you this lesson so you could teach somebody else. It might not even have been about me and you. But if I would have skipped my step, maybe we never reached those other people you reach. You know what I mean? So sometimes that first step, it doesn't look as enormous as the steps you later gonna take. Yeah. But it's just as important. It's just as vital. So I make sure I'm that person. You feel me? The person I needed as a kid, the person I used to call out for, I make sure I'm that person.
Yeah. To get to that, you had to kill your ego.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm still doing some ego killing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because that's not easy for because a lot of what you're explaining about who you are, the essence of you, and this is dope. Me and you had this conversation because we was talking off air before we started recording that we both had the psychology background. Yeah. So this is going to be we're going to understand a lot of shit. We probably have to slow it down and break it down.
Yeah, you have to listen to this one 2-3 times.
So I'm gonna try to help navigate this and break shit down as we go along. But to get to that place, we talk about the ego killing, you also have to get to a point where you're selfless.
Yeah.
You realize it's not about me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of us, we was kind of just talking about earlier, a lot of us is me with this whole, this world that we live in today is hey, look at me, look at what I'm doing, look how great and fantastic I am. Whereas when you turn it on the flip side and a person like yourself who is selfless and kills the ego, you're no, I want to highlight and everybody win. I want everybody to be great. Fuck me. I'm straight. I'll be good. I want to use my gifts, my talents, and what's innately in me to, hey man, we all great.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it comes from, it's my mindset. You know what I mean? I had to change my mindset.
Was you always this guy?
Oh no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I've done my shadow work. I've seen a therapist. I've gone to therapy. You know what I mean? I've done therapy recently. Like I've done group therapy with peers. Like
wow.
Cause it's hard for you to tell somebody to do the work if you haven't done the work. You know what I mean? And it's hard for me to I can empathize with you, but I can't sympathize with you if I haven't gone through like what you're going through right now. So as a therapist, I almost kind of, you know what I mean? I need to get help too and see if this help even works before I just push it on you. Right. You get what I mean?
Yeah. Right. You also got to be as they call it, sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Exactly.
Got to be willing to take all the arrows.
But I think what helped a lot too is like the tools. That's the magic and stuff I talk about in the book. It's like the tools I use. You know what I mean? And I believe in life. Like I believe in duality. So I believe in like everything has a good and bad. Nothing is inherently like good or bad. Everything has a good and bad side. You get what I mean?
It's two sides. Yeah.
It's
never just one linear thing.
Exactly. And everything it's perspective. It depends on how you looking at it. It depends on your circumstances. It depends on your emotional intelligence. Whew. It depends on your happiness level, your peace level. Like all of that is factored in, and it's easy to neglect those things. Yeah. And that's what, you know what I mean, got me here was like the opposite of that. It was holding myself accountable. It was making sure I didn't neglect those things. It was making sure before I told somebody like, okay, you know, you can better your life, you can change your life in this way. I'm making sure I'm better and trying to change my life.
Right, because if they look at you like, well, look, you fucked up too, man. Yeah, you're like fucked up. So what you coming at me for?
And that's what a lot of us was seeing. I grew up in the church. You know what I mean? So that's what a lot of us was seeing in the church. We were seeing, and we were seeing that in the home. Yeah, a lot of people telling you, don't do this, don't do this. You know, don't smoke, and they got a cigarette in their ear. Like, hold up. Wait a minute now. And don't question that either.
Right. Then you can't say nothing.
It makes sense somewhere.
Right. There can't be no pushback. Yeah. It just shut down. It's just like, don't ask me no damn questions, boy.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, look at that. But that's the history. It's funny, but that's the history of black people. Like, you try to oppress people, they gonna rise up. Like they gonna figure out the education. They gonna find the education because it has become the only thing that's important to them at this point is learning from what's going on. So this doesn't happen anymore. That's the best you can do. Like we can't rewind the past. You know what I mean? Right. Once we say some hurtful shit, once we do what we do, it's done. Yeah. You feel me? We got to forgive ourselves. And I don't really believe in so much of forgiveness for others. Like, we got to forgive ourselves. I got to forgive myself for being this person. I got to forgive myself for operating on that low frequency. I got to forgive myself for allowing myself to get out of character. You didn't get me out of character. My accountability is I allowed myself to get out of character. I allowed what you said to hurt my feelings enough that I said what I said. Yeah, man. And that doesn't make it right. You feel me? Right. As right as you felt in the moment. And you might even win the argument, but you ain't win the war. Like, because it shouldn't even be a battle. Yeah, you feel me? Right. Relationships shouldn't be a battle. So that's a lot of what I got into therapy too, is like family. Like, I want to talk to everybody. Yeah. Because it's rarely just one person that's the problem. Everybody's adding to the problem.
But we like to paint that picture like, oh, it's your fault. Yeah. This is, you hurt me, or this is what you did caused all this fucking mess.
There's no accountability in that.
Right.
You don't got to do the heavy lifting.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But that's a good thing. And that's usually the child and family that's coming out. Like, I was the black sheep. They usually mentally the strongest because they were dealing with all that weight and it kept getting put on them. Because they usually the reliable one in the family too, the one that come through. The one that gets shitted on in the family usually the one that come through for everybody all the time. Yeah. And psychology is funny like how that works. Because that's even something I learned. Like usually like when you get older, the kid that was treated the worst in the family is usually the one that takes care of the parents. Yep. That comes back. And the other kids that got spoiled be long gone.
Yeah. Right there. We should have been paying attention to little Jimmy the whole time. He was the one.
You talk to them 5 years later. Mom and dad died. Yeah. Damn, that's crazy.
That's how that comes full circle. So.
Anybody else died, call me back. Right. they living their best life.
Yeah, man. What was your upbringing like? You got siblings? Anything?
Yeah, I'm the youngest. So we all 2 years apart. So my brother's 2 years older than me. My sister's 2 years older than him. And we all got the same parents, but we different. Like I'm
about to say, are y'all different?
Yeah, we different. Yeah. And I'm more like, but we all got similarities. You know what I mean? Like, Cause I used to be heavy, like real big into like horoscopes. You know what I mean? And then cause I didn't understand it, so then I started understanding, started really reading it, and then I understood. Like I get how it works. It's more so like a guide. You know what I mean?
I'll say explain it to me because I have no idea.
It's like a guide more so, and I'm a Scorpio, so there's things that it's
no
like
idea.
There's like things that they say a Scorpio do. Like Scorpios are stubborn, and you know what I mean.
Is
They're
these things
argumentative,
real?
and I mean, yeah, absolutely. But it's not like more so. You're supposed to read this and be like this. You know what I mean? It's kind of like how the Bible is. The Bible is a guide on how to live, like a godly life.
It's not in a literal sense.
Yeah, it's how to live a godly life. You know what I mean? Zodiac is the same thing. It's how to embrace gifts that you were naturally given because of when you were born. Your birth chart is important. When you were born, how the planets and stuff was aligned, like all that stuff is important. The time of day, and yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
You feel me? So it's basically understanding like how to control those things, and sometimes just days when you're just upset, you feel off, and you have no idea why. Everybody has those days. Yeah. That stuff better helps you understand like why, you know what I mean? Damn. And then you go back and read it, you like, okay, I don't like being talked to a certain way, blah blah. Oh yeah, yesterday such and such did talk to me a certain type of way, and it threw your whole day off.
Damn, see, I always thought that stuff was just like, that shit too far fetched, man. That shit is
it's I mean it's so much, even magic, like it's how you interpret it. You know what I mean? It's how you use it. It's your intentions behind it, and do you believe? You know what I mean?
Right, yeah,
that stuff they was feeding us through child movies is real. Like you gotta believe in what you doing, but that's with anything. You know what I mean? Yeah. You gotta believe in it, or it's not gonna work. Because the days when you don't want to do it, it won't get done.
Right word.
You feel me? So I've always been like this. Nice. You feel me? So my brother, he a hustler. Like I got my hustler spirit from him. Like he gonna make some money. You know what I mean? Which is why my sister is smart. She was one of the smartest people I knew. Like damn near like ace and ACTs. You know what I mean? So she owned a salon. She do her thing, but we all just. Like I said, we similar, but we different. Like our social lives are different. Our personalities our characters different.
Wow.
So we all grew up quickly. You know what I mean? Because we just noticed a lot of things and we seen shit. We adapted and we moved.
Wow.
Yeah.
People get around y'all at the dinner table and like, damn.
Yeah. But even like, for example, like my brother's been to prison before. I've never been arrested in my life. You know what I mean? So it's like those, like we got subtle differences, but we both hooped. We did similar things. I'm a writer. I'm a poet. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He do what he wanna do.
Yeah.
And we got different circles. I celebrate that with people. I've never been you need to be my friend. You need to be my friend. Like I gravitate to the people I attract. Like the people who naturally like we talking about the same things. You read comic books, we gonna click to a certain extent.
Naturally,
How far that goes, is up to see. But we gonna click initially.
Yeah. Once
but
we find a comic,
I fucking hate comic books. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to get over this hurdle for me.
Like I'ma holler at you.
Because I love comic and I'm not hiding mine under the bed when you come over. Nah, I'm gonna have them out.
You're not ashamed.
The new Spider-Man drop. Spider-Man, what he in pajamas? Mom, I don't want him coming over no more. Tell his mom, I don't see it.
Yeah. You're not ashamed of it.
You know what I mean? So that's why there's a respect level there. That's all it is with me. I don't expect anything from people. Like I just want an understanding, and I want to understand people and be understood. You feel me? As long as I can get that, that's cool. So I kind of honestly grew up like kind of like an only child, like because they too was like, and they was older. Out the house early. They was moving, and they was, you know what I mean? I more so was, and that's his Scorpio nature. Like, and I got 2 Scorpio daughters. We all like this. I like isolation. Like, I like being in the lab. I'm like an angry scientist. I be in the lab, working 16 hours, forget to eat.
Damn.
If I'm in a relationship, they always come look for me. Like, have you ate? Have you showered? Have you left the house?
What are you doing down there?
Speakers blowing up and shit. MTV Cribs is on. It's a lot going on. Yeah. Might have an Xbox, so I played the game a little bit. Like I be in the lab because like I'm an artist. You know what I mean? So I like to work, and I need my room. I need my space to work.
So once you in that mood, you locked in.
Yeah, I'm locked in until I'm complete, until the job is done. You know what I mean?
Would you consider yourself a perfectionist?
Nah, absolutely not. And I've never been like that.
So this book ain't perfect?
Not at all. The first 13 copies, the spiritual was spelled wrong. and I caught it quick enough. And my mentor got it. A couple of my homies got it. I was like, I'm gonna have to sign that. I said, them the rare ones. But it's all kind of typos because I'm freehand, like, and that's kind of what I meant by like the revolutionary, like, because I went through this stigma everywhere, like through jobs. You just a nigga with dreads and tattoos. In school, you need to write this way, and that's not poetry, and that's not, you feel me? Yeah. And then you doing events, the event need to be run this way, and such run their event like that. Like, nah, like everybody got their input. Let that black man create and let him do it how he see it. There is no right way, there is no wrong way, it's your way. That's it. And as long as you doing your way, you doing it right. You feel me? Yep. And that's what I'm promoting. That's why I want my own publishing, because there is no like, you need to go to school, you need to write. And I was literally watching a pod where bro was literally talking about this a week ago. Like, people are reinventing what it means to write a book and how a book can be written. You feel me? And taking away all that pressure. It got to be 6 years, 7 years. Like, I started writing that book this year.
Damn. Yeah. You knocked this out in 1 year?
Yeah.
Wow.
In some months, like 4 months.
Damn. Wow.
And I kept writing, re-edit it, and I lock in. I shut everything off. I'm not going nowhere. My circle, I talk to them every day, but I barely talking to them. Like, I'm working. I'm locked in because this is important. This is my legacy. You know what I mean?
I love it. Let's do this. We're going to take one quick break, then we're going to come back. We're going to get into this book. We're going to talk about the Good Life Ohio brand. We're going to go hit some more topics and a lot more to talk about because we got some good time with him, but we're going to make sure we use this time wisely. So we'll be right back here, right on Cloth Talk Podcast. Before we go to this break, actually, Russ, let them know where they can find you at, where they can connect with you, where they can get the book and all that stuff for people who's interested.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Good Life Russ on all social media. Make it real simple for y'all. Tim Russell, if you want to find me on Facebook. Good Life Podcast, The Kickback on Facebook. Good Kickback on Instagram. I got a food blog called The Ohio Eats. That's on TikTok and Instagram. And Divine Light, we got a candle company called Divine Light. Nice. So you can get the book on Amazon right now. Hard copies will be in soon. I'm gonna do a book signing soon, but The Spiritual Wolf King on Amazon.
Nice. There you go. Make sure y'all tap in with Russ. Go ahead, cop this book. I'm glad I got a copy. I'm gonna get him to sign this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll be right back here with Russ with more right here on Talk.
Too many cooks to spoil the broth. Give me a wall and nothing at all. When duty calls, seen them fall, they suffer from sloth. Sweat pouring, shrouded, torn, face pressed in the cloth. Trying to make it last forever, keep sweating the song. Say you ready, whether records or weapons involved. May never learn in a coffin, in class, or a urn. And maybe all that paper boy is more than you can manage. Take advantage of the desperate and the famished. Snap live on Instagram it. 15 minutes in the vanish. Spot the panic, up the ante. Annex of the annex. Manic tantrums. Catch the action when the camera's candid. All underhanded. It's spacing like another planet. Molten planet. So I don't know who to trust. Buddha must blend like Orange Julius. Reptilians who blending like chameleons. For millions. Can't tell you who he really is. A Galilean. I can't argue with an alien. I'm just trying to reunite us like a alien. Too old to turn. Prefer my peaches with some herbs so they each can get a turn. Give them something they can feel, but it don't matter. Whether fraudulent or real, dog, it don't matter. All the talent and the skill, bro, it don't matter. They can all come out and cheer and it won't matter. Cold world gives you chills, make your bones chatter. Goons brandishing the steel, make those bones shatter. And what's after being known as a gone rapper? Elephant in the room, biggest Gabrielle Sidibe. Foot on their neck until those niggas pay. I ain't got 2 cents I can give away. For Pete's sake, they shine blind like Marcellus Wallace briefcase. All about the bands, make them walk for cheesecake. Knowledge that I kick all in print like East Bay. Last of a dying breed, brother, be safe. BJ got the masters for these tracks that I lay. I speak into the mic and Mikey masters what I say. Hand on the iron like a caddy when the master's about to play. John Sprees don't wanna be the John Lennon of his day. Soul stole away, but all we need is love, right? I let the Bud Light, crack a Bud Light, playing that OG music that thugs like. It's in the blood, right? Like it or love it, remaining on the higher plane, dog, there's nothing above it. Give them something they can feel, but it don't matter. Whether fraudulent or real, dog, it don't matter. All the talent and the skill, bro, it don't matter. They can all come out and cheer and it won't matter. Cold world give you chills, make your bones chatter. Goons brandishing the steel, make those bones shatter. And what's after being known as a gone rapper? Ghost in the shelf, striving to shake my confidence. Makes you remorseful, regretting all your accomplishments. Be as it may, I used to love her for her common sense. Uncommon sense, burnt sage and lit incense. Break the cycle like the chain popping off the Harley. You still a slave and those chains look like Jacob Marley. All the fame, you can still go out like Chris Farley. All the same, feeling gnarly, I'm the black sheep. But sprees is never getting fleeced over rap beef. All sweet, I rap beef like Doja Cat. Army of one, make you wonder where your soldiers at. Facts, nigga, no matter what mag's backing you. My attitudes, fuck what rapping do. If I react to you, I'm smacking fools and I'm beating ass in black and blue. We artists and I'm sensitive about my shit. So start popping, causing problems and just see what you get, nigga. Give them something they can feel, but it don't matter. Whether fraudulent or real, dog, it don't matter. All the talent and the skill, bro, it don't matter. They can all come out and cheer and it won't matter. Cold world gives you chills, make your bones chatter. Goons brandishing the steel, make those bones shatter. Then what's after being known as a gone rapper?
Turn back, just like that.
Give them something they can feel, but it don't matter.
People have no idea what just happened. Right. We're back right here on Cloth Talk Podcast with Russ. Okay, man. Talk to us about the Good Life Ohio brand. Because you was just, before we went to break, you was breaking down all the entities under that. The Ohio Eats, the podcast, obviously. Yeah. I seen something like the movie thing.
Yeah, like, the movie committee.
Movie committee.
It's another podcast. We just do movie reviews.
So break down each branch of, because it seems like it's a lot.
Yeah. So it's like, so basically when I started Good Life, it was just club promotion. This was like
started as a club
15
promotion.
years ago in the beginning.
Really? Oh,
yeah,
wow.
That's evolved more into events. I do events now on Thursdays called speech therapy, like a poetry night.
Got you.
So I do events. I do music
you said
shows.
15 years ago?
Yeah, like 15 years ago.
Dang.
Yeah. So that's when I started doing club promotion. I used to do Red Zone, Icon, Republic, Lounge 62. I mean Studio 69. We can go down the list. You know what I mean? Like all the clubs in the city we was doing. You feel me? So it was just that. I was seeing it as that, and then I started getting to the clothing into it because I seen the clothing as like a way to market yourself. Just as that. I'll be giving clothes away, like, and my brother's in it too. His name Jay Will, and he a rapper, getting his rap career going. So we're gonna have a record label too. Like, I just believe in ownership. You know what I mean? And most importantly, I want to do the things I'm interested in doing. Yeah, I want to do the things that make me happy and the things that pour back into me and it loves me back. I don't just love it. You get what I'm saying? So I've done a lot of business. I've sold cut coughs, knives, vacuums. I done been outside. I done all that because I'm a hustler. Like they say it make money. I want to see if it make money and how much it's gonna make. Yeah. And then once it's done, the well's dry. You go to the next thing. So everything I embody of what I do. So Good Life Ohio is basically like the house brand. I wanted to create a brand to where I worked with artists and help them, like, for example, I love graffiti style, help them tag and do stuff under Good Life name, but still get their credit. And people not just see their work like, oh, that's Good Life. Like, nah, they see the person within it. Yeah. And when we incorporate new people, like when they already have a business, we don't incorporate their work. We incorporate their brand. So you keep the brand and keep doing what you're doing. Yeah. You just be like a sister company or like, you know what I mean? Like that. We're just like the parent company basically. But I want to become the bank. Like I want to build up enough resources to where I can help people. Like if you need a loan, you need some space, you need a photo shoot to just like sharpen up your brain a little bit.
Come over to the Good Life.
Mom and pops don't know that. You know what I mean? Certain foreign entrepreneurs here don't know that. They weren't given that education. They missed out on that. Yeah. So we need somewhere now to where they can focus on what they do. Nice. You know what I mean? That's what I want to do is promote. That's why I started the podcast. Like, because I want to help market, help promote, and get people's voices out there. My favorite artist is like The Chef. And the reason that's one of my favorites, because one is something I don't do, so I don't got to compete. I can just be in the audience of it. Right. But two, restaurants got it figured out. The chef only has to cook. They let everybody else does everything else. They figure out the front of the house, the tables, the seating. Chef don't got to worry about none of that. They just get to focus on their art.
You don't even see him.
So imagine if an artist, you know what I mean, a painter had that. Imagine if a poet had that, a musician, to where you could just focus on your craft. Right. And then everyone else is still providing and growing your brand for you. You know what I mean? So that's what I want to bring to hip hop, to the culture, to what we do.
Like a hub.
Yeah. Basically having our own network, and then we receive like all the business first, and then if we don't want it, cool, we can outsource this work. But if I know a baker and somebody come to me like, oh, I need a cake for my daughter's birthday, I'm sending you to the baker in the network. That's right. First.
Yep.
So they was sleep. They just woke up to business. You feel me? You ain't have to do
nothing. You gotta go over there.
Because they was gonna need this cake regardless.
Right.
So why not? So I'm gonna send it to you.
Yeah.
That's what everybody else do. They call their people. They call their brother-in-law. I got some business for you. So that's what we need to start doing. Hey, cousin. Right. I got some work for you. Man. And we doing that. Our generation is a lot better at that. I see contract work. We reach out. I see yard work. We reach out. I see decorating. I see cake events. We reaching out. Host. DJing, we getting it, but we gotta still keep going. You know what I mean? Like
the work is never done.
Yeah, so I wanted to create a house to where people can come, they can feel, and we do a bunch of charity work. I don't believe in like taking from people and not giving back. Like if I come in any place and take one, I want to leave two. You dig? So I'm more so I have to give back just because I make money. I sell things. I'm a businessman. Like I make businesses are designed to make money.
Hell yeah.
So, but there has to be a charitable portion of me. I love and that keeps us humble. Those things keep me level. Those things keep my mind in check. You feel me? When I don't have to check myself, it's just how I move. I remind myself, like, okay, this is the type of man I am.
Yeah, because it's for the people.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna give it all. I'm gonna give it all up, and I need to be doing things that I can give to my kids, and I can pass down to them. You know what I mean? Man. It would have been fun being a lawyer and stuff like that. I used to want to when I was young, watching Law and Order. Yeah, I loved arguing. I could go, but then I seen the paperwork. I said, yeah, I don't think I want to do this. I don't think this for me.
I want to say
maybe not.
I want to say where your brain work, you'll get like on to the next thing.
Sorry, my name. That's not how you feel about, sir. You've been on the bar for 20. Come on. Right. You gotta learn this. Yeah. But yeah, I want to be, and I'm a freedom of time kind of person. So
I love that, man.
You know what I mean?
That's hard. Yeah.
I want to work for myself, but also I want to move when I want to move.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, we want to go get crepes in France. We out. We want some real fufu. Like we going to Africa. You feel me? Like I want that for myself.
Yeah, I gotta put in time request off thing.
Listen, and that's and a big part to my career too is like travel, because travel is education, travel is life,
seeing the world.
And I think a lot of times, like when we don't travel, like we're spoiled by what we know. And when we travel, like you were saying earlier, like, you know, how does someone get that humility? Like how do you understand how small you are in the grand scheme of all of this? And it's traveling. It's seeing other people's walk of life. It's seeing other people having the same problems as you but handle them differently. It's seeing other people have composure when you would have lost your character. That's humility. Word. That's reminding you, like, you having a bad day, somebody having a worse day.
Yeah, word.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Exactly.
Yeah,
that's true. That you mentioned earlier that you diagnosed with autism.
Yeah.
How, like, because I'm not too I guess too familiar with that area.
Okay.
Like, what is how is autism? Is it like a spectrum? Is it different?
Yeah.
Like different.
It's different levels. There's different levels and different spectrums, but the grand scheme is it's like an imbalance. You know what I mean? It's like definitely like it's like typical social norms and cues that people would pick up on, you don't really pick up on. Sometimes it's dyslexia, you know what I mean? Sometimes, like, I've experienced that. Like, I've talked about that in the book, too. Like,
dyslexia.
Yeah, like, switching letters around, basically. That's just a form of that. All these things have levels.
So you talking about the typos.
You know what I mean? Yeah, stuff like that. But to me, it looks like how I meant to say it. You know what I mean?
See, like, a word backwards or something?
Not alright. So look, for example, so I was in summer camp. An example, when in middle school, NYSP. I talk about this in the book, and I spelled like, you know, it's like it's a portion of it where you just do class. It's mostly sports camp, but it's a portion where they got to put you in a classroom. It's
academic stuff.
So you ain't really doing nothing. There's some random sub in here just babysitting y'all. We in here spitballing each other and riffing each other. Like it's like that. So she tell me come to the board to spell juice. So I'm like, all right, bet. So I go up there and I spell it. And I put the chalk down. It's whatever. So I'm walking back to my seat, and everyone's crying, like they laughing so hard. And I'm usually like the class clown, so I'm just thinking that, like, all right, you know what I mean? Like, this is pretty silly, isn't it? Like juice.
Like she told me to spell juice,
and I spelled it with a G and not a J.
Oh shit!
and it took me a minute to catch it, because then I was like, hold up, this laugh don't sound like friendly. You know what I mean? It sound like this on my back. Like, hold up. So I look at it. I said, oh, man. But it was too late. I was in too deep. I had to just go sit down. And
you was exposed.
Well, that's not it. But good try. She made it worse. So I said, oh, just next kid. You better get him a hard word.
Wow. So it affects you on different like levels.
Yeah, but a lot of it to me was mental. It was confidence too.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Okay.
And that's something immediately I feel with anyone that, because everybody considers different things handicap. So I just go by like this person's experience. Like anybody you would consider handicapped, just talk to them how you would talk to a normal person. Don't talk to them like something's wrong.
It's kind of insulting.
Because those things, and those things mentally are not helping them grow, because it's a confidence thing too.
Right.
It's no different than the kids who had the stuttering issues, and like it's a confidence thing too, more so than it's like just something neurologically going wrong. You feel me? So I wasn't confident in saying certain things. All those things was kind of like it fed into it. And then another one's like sensory stuff, like loud noises throw you off, certain touches. I couldn't do dishes for like the longest. Just put my hands in dish, like soapy water.
Like the way it felt?
Yeah, it was weird. I was cool.
Wow.
Certain textures I wouldn't eat. You know what I mean? And that's why now, like through psychology, I do CBT, because I started to like. Have you seen The Accountant? The movie? All right, so I basically started to like just push through the stuff. Like started to like, okay, this is how this should be done. This is, some things just feel this way, and like talking to myself, like coaching myself through it. You know what I mean? Then that's when I learned like a lot of it was just confidence. I didn't, because these people kept saying like something's wrong with you, and this is a little off, and this, and you know, kids notice before anody something off with you. So I was just always different. Always, I was always different. Right. And then in high school, I just got popular, and a lot of it was just basketball, and people started to actually get to know me and shit. And then, since then, they stopped noticing the differences. But elementary was rough. Like, that kids notice every single subtle difference.
Yeah. Why you tie your shoe like that?
Yeah, literally. Why you walking like that? What do you? Because I be daydreaming, just looking at it. Then you just bump into the table, and I'm just like, I'm doodling. I'm falling asleep in class. Is he drunk?
It's complete,
teacher.
Complete mess.
The kids is creative, so they gonna hurt your feelings in unique ways.
Wow.
But I needed that, like you were saying earlier, like the importance of rejection and all that. I talk about that too. I needed all that, and it helped me more so than it hurt me. Yeah. And I noticed a lot of people, like I was saying, the people who are just spoiled by what they know, like it hurt them more so. Because they grew up and found out the world don't work like that. You feel me?
Real life kick your ass.
I grew up, it was already kicking my ass. So it was like, it's only up from here.
Yeah, right. Every got to you. You're like, well.
You can't have the job because you got dreadlocks. I was like, oh, well, just walk out. Like, okay. I lost some good jobs like that. I was like, God. So a lot of this too pushed me out of working. You know what I mean? Like, I had to pay child support, like, so it's like how they do you with your checks, and they just do. I was cool, and I don't know, like I'm a hippie, but like legit, I'm a revolutionary. You know what I mean? I don't really fuck with the government like that, so I don't want them just knowing where I'm at, and like. I don't know, I just move different.
So if it was up to you, you'll live off grid.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I'm headed towards, and getting towards that farm life. Like, shout out Waka Flocka. Like, that's the plan. That's the goal. That's the goal
like, no, I'm
me.
serious. I'm like,
I had to do my legacy. You know what I mean? And Columbus gave me a lot. Like, I've been here most of my life, so Columbus has given me a lot. Yeah. So I want to give back. You feel me? But once I give back and scratch that itch, like I'm out of here. Yeah. I'm out of here.
Are you gonna feel guilty about leaving that off?
I am, but I'm also gonna be dipping in and out of cities and stuff, traveling. I just want new cities. I just want new experiences. You know what I mean? Yeah. To each his own. Some people can move somewhere, live there, and be comfortable. Yeah. I want to see. I just want to see different things and new things. So I will come back and I'll visit, but I keep in touch too, like with people. But shit, honestly, like. How I live here would be like I lived on the moon. For real, I barely talk to people. We talk on social media here and there. You feel me? I'm like, so it's like it really
Russ,
wouldn't be a big difference. Yeah. Wait, you still here? Like I live here.
Dope. Switching gears to your podcast. Yeah. I noticed like you open your podcast with this statement, and I love it. I kind of want you to expound on why you open pretty much each episode like that. You always say we talk about the shit that y'all need to stop talking about.
Yeah.
I love that. Break that down, man. It's an obvious statement, but explain why, because for people who haven't listened to your podcast, and if y'all haven't, make sure y'all tune into the GoodLife Podcast. Very dope podcast. I've been listening to a few episodes since I connected with you behind the scenes. But I think that's dope that you open each episode with that statement, and other statements as well. But that one stands out to me because it defines, your podcast, what it's about as you listen through it. Yeah. That statement rings true as you listen throughout the podcast. Yeah. But also, that statement, we talk about the shit that y'all need to stop talking about, speaks volumes. Yeah. It speaks volumes. Talk about that and why that was important for you to create that kind of platform with your podcast. Because I think that's man.
So how I got into this, the kickback, the point of it was
the whole podcast.
Yeah, it was like barbecues, kickbacks, family reunions, gatherings. When we kick it with each other, and we really talk, and we really talking about them issues
at the spades table.
That's the stuff that needs to be a global conversation. So I created it off of that. You know what I mean? Off of that emphasis. And then when I got into it, I was realizing it was no different than back in the day. Back in the day with psychology and mental health, it was either ADHD or everybody thought you was bipolar. They misused bipolar so bad. People still don't know what bipolar is to this day.
Yeah, man.
And my only argument is if you don't know, just don't talk about it. If you aren't having experienced something or research or study something, just don't talk about it. Right. Let the people who actually know what they talking about have these conversations. Yeah. And some people look at that as gatekeeping and that's cool. You can call it whatever you want. But at the end of the day, I study this stuff. Yeah. I read these books. I do certifications, you know what I mean? I go to conferences. I do. This is my life for real. Yeah. This isn't something we just decided to start talking about.
Everybody's not qualified to speak on everything.
Yeah. So then I have episodes too where it's just more fun and it's more like the battle of the sexes. We talk about relationship things, the stuff people talk about on social media that have no end and have no answer or no conclusion. But people want to talk about it. So
you add a little entertainment in there.
Yeah, let's get comfortable. I think we can talk about that and get comfortable, but still we need to be talking about the real issues. You know what I mean? Yeah. Our mental health affects everything we do. How we think, how we feel, how we react. Right. You feel me? That affects everything, and anybody who's been through a hard time knows it only takes one or two things that can really change your whole life around. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. One event.
Yeah, we already black in America, so you already got enough stress, and enough people that want to see you lose. Why add that to yourself? Why be? You know what I mean? It makes no sense. Why self-sabotage these things that you've been manifesting, these things you've been asking for, and then we self-sabotage them by not being disciplined. And that's the hard end work. I'd rather do that hard work up front, you feel me? Because when you put the work off tomorrow, it's gonna be harder. Yep. So these are the things and why we need to have these conversations. And that's why it's funny because I love it. Also I want to bring people on the show to not to challenge them, but to hear what they got to say, because they be on social media going crazy.
Right. People be, and I'm
like, I love that. Awesome. Yeah. I got a show. Let's talk about it.
Right. Let's talk about it.
Oh, right. Yeah. May 13th is it's June 1st. I'm like, you still want to do the show? They done blocked me on Facebook. I'm like,
exactly.
I didn't even argue with you. I disagree with you, which is healthy. I can disagree with you and not be an asshole and be a
personal
jerk. Yeah, and I can disagree with you and still hear you out. You feel me? And when I rebuttal, I'm not trying to recruit you over to my side. I'm just presenting you new information. You do with that as you wish. It's your life.
I'm not here to change you.
You do that what you wish, but don't say I ain't never gave you nothing. I gave you an alternative at least. You know what I mean? Right. So that's another end to where we can check ourselves instead of telling somebody, just don't do it like that, and then just look at them.
Right.
No.
Let's have a dialogue.
I never come to somebody I think you could do this a little different without an alternative. And then I say I would have did it like this.
Right.
I don't even say, well, you should have. Nah. So even in those simple dialogues, I've been helping do the show. People write me. I've been doing this for 4 years, going into the 4th year now in April. So people write me, people hit me up. Sometimes it's people I know. Sometimes it's situations like this, and they're just if anything, I'm learning to have better conversations and communications. And I said, that's what it's about. That's why I say on the show to the end, have these conversations. This isn't just for you to listen to. It's for you to listen to healthy and proper dialogue with people. And I love when people disagree, because then they can see us under control and having fun with it, and we ain't at each other's throats. It's not personal to me, because he can think whatever he want to think, I can think whatever I want to think. When we both leave, we going back to our life, so do it matter what we think or believe?
It's, you know what I mean? For the extra, like,
and then that brings everything full circle. That's what creates the humility when you have that mindset to now want to see someone else be successful, because now you understand this person's success doesn't challenge mine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This person being as big as he want ain't gonna shade my light, and then he ain't gonna get in my way. Like, we in two different lanes. Even when we do the same thing, we in two different lanes, because you are your brand and your product. So your brand's already completely different than mine because it has you. My brand don't have that.
Right.
Your brand don't have me. So we're unique. Right. So we can market each other.
Right. And it's enough room for everybody to eat.
Exactly, man. And sometimes we ain't got all the answers. So I'd rather give you somebody who got the answers. I always refer, like, when people get my show, I refer them 2-3 other shows.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's dope. Yeah.
And it's usually something I think they would like, because it's people I know. Yeah. And then when random people ask me, it's just I give them my favorites. Yeah. Like, I listen to Gary V. Like, I can't stand Red Table Talk. People be sending me that link. Like, no Jada. I listen to Drink Champs. I listen to Kitchen Talk with Mano. That's my guy.
I like that.
$1 million worth of games sometimes. And then I got all my local shows that I listen to. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah, man.
My boys, Bread and Butter. I just started listening to your show. You know what I mean? Like, I love it, bro. Like, I love that we all doing this.
Yeah, it's so. Exactly. That's exactly where I was about to go with it, because there's so much, especially like within this. Because now we're living in this specifically this podcast space is like this boom that's happening. Everybody's getting a show. Everybody's getting a platform. But going back to what you were saying earlier about, there's so many platforms that just do all the goofy shit, the celebrity talk, the gossip. And all that stuff. What you're saying is leading to the point like, we got enough of that. Let's get to the real root of stuff. Yeah. Let's have real conversations. Like, whether we are disagreeing on social matters or whatever the case may be, or whether we just having healthy dialogue back and forth, whether we just kicking ideas around, whether we're sharing our experiences, stories, all that. Let's promote that more. Like, who gives a fuck about who slapped who on Love and Hip Hop?
Exactly. Like, nobody does.
That gets us nowhere. So I definitely agree with that. And that's, piggybacking off your point, that's partly why I started, my podcast as well, is to have conversations purposely with different people. That's why I call it cloth talk, because I believe we're all cut from a different cloth.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so people like ask me, why'd you call it cloth talk? Like, because we're all cut from a different cloth. We're not the same. So I like to have people on here who are like either completely opposite or different from me, or in different fields, different industries, or similar industries, because we're all cut from a different cloth, and I can learn something from sitting across the couch with this person and just having a discussion and dialogue, and in turn they may as well. And then the viewership, I hope they come away with something, a new mindset, a new perspective. Like, damn, when dude said that, oh shit, I never thought of it like that. When he broke it down like that, or damn, hold up, damn, you know what, he is right, or I just got a little nugget from that. You know what? Okay, so that's what it's all about. Like, I'm not gonna get fed by looking at all the fluff, the gossip, and the celebrity. I was like, okay, because if you really look at that, like 9 times out of 10, we can't even relate to that type of a lifestyle. Exactly. I don't know what it's like to have problems on a yacht. Like, exactly. I can't even relate to that. So, but I can relate to my man who got a 9 to 5. Yeah, I can chop it up with, because I know what that's like. Yeah. So,
I did that.
Yeah, man. So I think that's dope that we have these platforms and people who are creating platforms with purpose. Yeah. With purpose. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like, there has to be both. Like, everybody deserves a chance. Whether it's good or not is another story.
Yeah. Entertainment not bad. Don't get me wrong out there, people. Don't get in the comments of, what the fuck you trying to say? Everything just need to be holier than thou. No. We need a balance of it.
But it can't take up the bulk of your time.
There you go.
And that's why I think there should be freedom of choice, and there should be everything, because I want you to choose my show. Like, I don't want you to force. You know what I mean? I don't want to trick you into watching my show. Yeah. I don't want to force you. Yeah. I want your mind to be in a space to where you like
receive it.
This is what I need to be digesting. Yep. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, that determines your quality of life. Because our diets is not just what we eat. Like, it's what we watch, it's what we entertain, it's how we think, it's how we speak. It's how we speak to ourselves. It's what we make time for, it's what we prioritize. You dig? Man. So it's like, all of these, that's the point of my show. It's going to constantly show you, like, you need to take accountability. You can blame everybody you want to blame, and that's awesome. Like, but after you do all that, you're going to have to figure out what you're doing wrong and how you're going to change that.
Yeah, 'cause I like the episode, y'all, the recent one you just have the fathers.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Because I don't have kids myself, you know, but listening to that, and listening to fathers speak on fatherhood, and like one of the guys talking about, like, with the daughters, I'm like as a listener, I'm just listening. I'm like, damn,
and those are my cousins, and that's how it is.
Family. Okay.
Those are my cousins too, and that's what's funny. That's how it is, and that's a throwback. We did that like last year.
Oh, word.
And that's how it is. Like, and there's a lot of people. That's why we come talk about that stuff too, because there's a lot of people who. I always tell people, like, sometimes your problem is, like, you're not giving yourself enough grace. You're not giving yourself enough credit for the things you are doing right. Yeah. And the first thing I hear with parents is, like, oh, I think I'm messing this up, or I'm talking to them wrong, I'm doing this. And it's like, you're doing a lot more right than you think. Like, look at your kid and see your relationship with them. You feel me? They going to let you know if you're doing it right or not.
Right. They're successful.
And if they loving on you and they, you know what I mean? Like, they love you to death, like, you doing it right.
Yeah, man.
You doing the best you can do, and they see that. And sometimes we got to give ourselves grace. We got to just accept, like, I'm doing the best I can do. And that's good enough right now.
I love it. Hell yeah. We're going to take one more break. Then we're going to close it out. We're going to talk about this book. And we're going to get you up out of here because this man got a family. Unlike me. We're going to take this quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about this book. And then we're going to wrap it up from there. Let them know again where they can find you, Russ, where they can connect with you, listen to the pod, get the book, all that stuff one more time.
Yeah, GoodLife Russ on all social medias. You can find me at the GoodLife Podcast, The Kickback on Facebook, Good Kickback on Instagram. You can find us at Ohio East on Instagram and the Divine Light on Instagram.
Man, got a lot going on.
Yes, sir.
Is it hard for you to slow down?
Nah, I'm actually good at relaxing and chilling. Like, it actually took me a while to get used to working all the time, honestly. Like I said, I'm a hippie.
Right. All right, make sure y'all go ahead and tap in with Russ on all the platforms. Make sure you go cop the book, listen to the pod. If you're locally in Columbus, make sure you tap in on all the other local platforms he got going on. We'll be right back here on Cloud Talk Podcast. Don't go nowhere.
When I make it to the top, I'ma jump off just to show you that I'm fly and I'm not y'all. I just wanna live and die like a rock star. I'm just trying to live and die like a rock star. When I make it to the top, I'ma jump off just to show you that I'm fly and I'm not y'all. I just wanna live and die like a rock star. I'm just trying to live and die like a rock star. I'm just trying to live and die like a rock star. Keep the blicky on me in case a nigga jump off. But I'm just trying to pop some bottles and get topped off. Because I'm good in every hood, because I'm not y'all. When you get wetted with the rain, I pass the mop off. They try to put you in the kennel when you topped off. The devil knocking at my door, I say I'm not home. These niggas acting like they killers, but they not though. I know we're killers in the street, most of them not home. But I'm still fucking with them, so I send a kite off. But when I make it to the top, I'ma jump off. Just to show you that I'm fly and I'm not y'all. Yeah. When I make it to the top, I'ma jump off. Just to show you that I'm fly and I'm not y'all. I just wanna live and die like a rock star. I'm just trying to live and die like a rock star. When I make it to the top, I'ma jump off. Just to show you that I'm fly and I'm not y'all. I just wanna live and die like a rock star. I'm just trying to live and die like a rock star. Yeah.
All these niggas telling stories and they start to bore me. When it come to taking shots, I feel like Robert Horry. I got rings on every finger that Bill Russell jewelry. Homie numbers don't lie, check his story. You tryna get a bag, boy, I'm tryna cop a phone. You wanna pop a tag, me, I'd rather pop a coat. Flute glasses, making music every time we toast. I don't wanna laugh, but you're looking like a joke. Obama wanted change, I wanted progress. Presidential tin on that Mozzie with low mileage. Plus it's paid in full, I ain't lease it ain't no finance. Plays I'm pulling up on BB Rex.
When I make it to the top, I'ma jump off. Just to show you that I'm fly and I'm not y'all. I just wanna live and die like a rock star. I'm just trying to live and die like a rock star. When I make it to the top, I'ma jump off.
Right just to show you that I'm fly. Podcast. Russ is still here hanging out. Oh man. Alright. We're gonna get into this book, man. The Spiritual Wolf King.
Yeah.
Self-Help Guide to Loving Yourself and Finding Peace by GoodLife Russ.
Mm-hmm.
before we get into the contents of this book, what prompted you to write your first book, man? Where did that come from?
The time opened up. Like the time, I don't. It's funny. I don't really believe in time. Like it's a man-made construct, but I believe in like divine time. I believe like there's openings for things. We gotta leap. We gotta be prepared. So I was doing some heavy business, and then COVID happened, and we got a brand called Trap Eats that's gonna be relaunching here soon. It's a black-owned delivery service.
Hey.
So we got an investor last year. Took a break from that, and it was just this window where I was just like working on art, doing events, and I was like, I might write my book, like, and I've been just always thinking about it, and I always knew, because to me that's legacy, man. Like once you write your book, you put that, it's out there forever. That's gonna live far past you. You know what I mean? Man. And that's gonna be teaching people like beyond my days. So I needed to do that now, and I got it done in the window. Like I said, it came out June 26th, so I got that done, and still with time to spare. And I was like,
you said you knocked this out in like 6 months.
Cool. Yeah, it was like 5 months altogether. Yeah.
Nice. Let me just start. Let me read a couple of these chapters. I'm not gonna read the book obviously on air. I just want to go through a couple of chapters. So chapter 1, the kid. Chapter 2, just another black boy. Chapter 3, the artsy nerd. Chapter 4, the wolf. That sounds like that's a good chapter. Chapter 5, the hustler. Talk about your brother.
Absolutely.
Chapter 6, more than just another black boy. That sounds important. Chapter 7, the king. I love this.
So you see how it's like a story, so it shows different parts of my life and different parts I had to tap into.
Forms,
so the wolf was like my aggressive. It was like the teens and 20s. It was a lot of fighting, and you know what I mean? Like we did things as kids we shouldn't always do, and lessons we had to learn from doing certain things. So I tapped into that wolf. Like the wolf's like also like my spirit animal, my spirit guide. So like in times when you afraid and you need help, like use your people, use your tools, you know what I mean? So I tap into that, and it made me want to research it more and look into more, and I realized like shit, we a lot alike. So it was teaching me, I'm learning more about myself in the process, you know what I mean? So
was it, when you was writing this, was it weird to like revisit and like just go back to those moments? Like,
absolutely. And you go through it like in real life, you start feeling all those same emotions get stirred up. But like I said, this is the first book, so this is the first time, like we'll see over the next few how I feel, but for this one I felt better writing it down, getting it out, like different than I've ever felt writing.
It's also a form of therapy.
Different than I've ever felt writing, because you just write, get down, it's a relief, you know what I mean?
Because you write poetry, so this was a different
whole different writing style. And a different editing process. And then I had an editor with my poetry. I do all my editing I do all my own stuff. I did the cover art.
I was going to ask you, break this. You painted all this?
I have one paint of that original, but I did that painting and then cropped it and then put it on the cover.
For those who are watching on YouTube and Facebook, y'all see the cover. Break the cover down for us. So tell us what's going on here.
Okay, so the spiritual part is the warlock. That's the purple hat and the beard, and then in the middle, that's the wolf. You know what I mean? And then the last one is the king. So all through, I use like magic too that people can use. So like mantras. You know what I mean? So reaffirmations, learning how to check yourself, learning how to gauge your behavior. I talk about like astral projection, all that stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I studied in like I study heavy in dreams. So I'm hip to all deja vu freaky. It's real freaky. So that's the type of stuff that I'm interested in. I'm just interested in the mind and like the parts of the mind we still need to unlock, and why ain't we using them, and what can we be using those for? Because it do something. It ain't just up there for nothing.
Because I feel like we're not tapping into our full potential as people. Like I feel like we just kind of, a lot of us just kind of just mosey on through life, and we just kinda, we're just on cruise control. You know, we're just going.
But I feel like we're the product of like the world. You know what I mean? The world got safer. The world is now built on more convenience, and it wasn't just because work was so hard. Work is dangerous. You was in the jungle and in nature fighting animals for food. Like people ain't want to live like that no more. So I think a part of that started to stifle and block off a part of our minds because we wasn't using it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then now you get up, instead of having to actually grind these coffee beans and do it like a barista do, you just press a button and get your coffee.
Right.
So that's not just changing your physicality, like it's changing the essence of who you are. You're becoming more complacent. You're becoming like, oh well, I should only have to do a little bit of work and get the whole result. It's re-altering your mindset. So how we live our lives affects our mind. You know what I mean? That's magic.
I love that.
You know what I mean? Mind over matter.
Hell yeah. What's your favorite chapter personally for you?
Ooh.
Yeah. Your first book, is there a favorite chapter of yours? Which
one? I would probably say Just Another Black Boy. Just because that talks about racism. That talks about getting pulled over by the police. That talks about that haunting feeling like when you think the cops is about to pull you over. You know what I mean? When you ride in the wrong neighborhood, and that's something black people have to live with. Like, we have no type of privilege. Like, we live in constant fear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for me, like, finding that peace, finding yourself, and learning yourself, because we don't really go out there and find ourselves. We create ourselves, who we are, through different circumstances. And that's even your circle. You feel me? I feel like we pick who we want in our lives, and then life sorts those people out. Yeah. So we got to listen to life. We got to go with the flow of life, but we've been going against the grain of life. Working 100-hour weeks and doing, like, that stuff's not natural. People did not naturally live like that. When all they knew was life, they lived naturally. Yeah. And then we start getting different ideas because that shit was hard. And there was some people looking like, right. Where Fred at? Yeah, Lion 80. Oh, nah, see, we going to have to figure something out. Who the next one up in line, and everybody looking at you? Nah, see, we gonna have to figure something out.
Well, I don't know about that one.
I mean, if you want that new coat, you gonna have to go. What else can we make coats out of?
Right.
I'm done with the bearskin. I'm done. We're losing more people than coats we're making. We can't keep this up. You feel me? And it changed us, but that's the duality. Some will argue for the better, some will argue for the worse. It's perspective.
Right. And nobody's right or wrong.
Yeah. And that's what we're arguing about. Who's right or wrong? Who cares who's right or wrong? We still got to deal with all this shit. Right. So we need accountability to deal with it. You know what I mean? Because it ain't going to go away. And that's what I grew up seeing around, like, just the adults that, like, was in my neighborhood at the corner store that I seen all the time. Like, there's just complacency. They was complacent. They was content. Yeah. And that just used to burn a fire in me. Like, I'm never going to be content. You know what I mean? Like, just like with all this, what we do in mental health, there's no completion. Like, I don't think anyone will be healed. We all will be healing the rest of our lives. No one will ever be healed when they could just stop, like, oh, finish. No more healing. Like, nah.
It keeps going.
As you heal trauma, you create more trauma. Yep. So trauma is a part of your life. You're not trying to be happy. You're not seeking peace. You're not doing magic. I don't do spirituality to try to avoid trauma. I love my trauma. You know what I mean? I love my triggers because it reminds me areas that I can get better in. So when I used to fight that and push against it, I wasn't growing. I was being stagnant. But when I start seeing that as, oh, okay, when somebody say some slick stuff about you, instead of me getting upset, I'm like, okay, maybe they're true. Maybe what they saying is right. Right. What would that mean? And how much would it take you to fix it?
Right. Right. So and how do I process it too?
Exactly. Yeah. So now this again becomes a lesson. Instead of you ever looking at it as a loss, it's a lesson. So then you adopt that mindset. You try to learn from every single thing you do and everything you see done. That's why I'm so different from my brother and sister. Like, because I had to see them go through certain things I didn't have to. You know what I mean?
When brother went to prison, you was talking about.
And then I knew not to go through certain things, so they never had to see me in that situation. So lessons they might not be learning because they was too close to it. Yeah, I could be just far enough away that splatter, no blowback, but also I'm learning. I can take notes. Right. You know what I mean? So I started to become that person in life, the scientist. Like, okay, let me observe, and then let's come to a conclusion and let's figure out what we gonna do next.
Yeah, man.
You feel me? And that's how I live every day.
I like that. I love that. What do you hope people get away from this book? What do you want people to get away, to come away with this after they're finished reading The Spiritual Wolf King? You know, what you want people to get away with?
I want them to change their minds. I want them to start working on adaptation and not looking for comfort, but getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. You know what I mean? And I want them to start expanding their mind. Yeah. Stop being so like limiting. A lot of people are limiting. You know what I mean? They're like, I'm gonna read 5 books and I'm done. Like when I read a book and really read a book and digest it, I'm like, Yo, The Spook That Sat by the Door is one of those books. But when I really read one of those books, it makes me want to go read more books. So that's when you know, like, this is feeding into you and it's empowering you. You feel me?
Yeah.
And it's encouraging you. It's not just like, oh, I read this and this book made me feel bad. Now I don't want to read no more. Or it was too hard and I didn't know these words. And so even in that book, like, it's some big words and it's how I talk, but it's some slang, it's some hood shit in there too. And it's people who wouldn't typically read books gonna be able to read my book. Like, okay, I get what he's saying.
Yeah.
And then now with our generation, more people writing, there's more books coming. So I'm literally writing this so you can read more. Like, I want people to read more. That's the point. Because I'm going to be writing more too. I'm working on like an urban fantasy right now. Like a Harry Potter book.
I was just about to ask you. I was like, another book coming.
Harry Potter. I got other shit I'm working on too. But urban fantasy, Harry Potter, but it's all black people. Hood situations.
Let's go.
It's going to be crazy. And it's gory. It's bloody.
Yeah.
It's going to be crazy. And the girl that edited that book, her name is Black Rose, but she's helping me write it. So we write it from two different perspectives. So it's like a brother, and it's like two main characters. That's a man and a woman. So I'm like writing from his perspective. She's writing from hers.
Oh, that's dope.
And the book is going to like collide to get, it's going to be crazy. So we working on that now. So that'll probably, hopefully, I want to get it out by the end of the year. She thinking next year. You know, women just, they calculated. They want to stick to their plan. And the man just like, let's go. Right. So I just want to go. Like, let's put it out today. She like, no, like, it's, you feel me? So, but I'm pushing for the end of this year. And that, that's, people going to feel that. Because I'm really a nerd, for real.
Oh, yeah.
You feel me? I'm really a nerd.
Well, you got a chapter called
But I had to wear all these disguises. I had to be all these different people. You know what I mean? You can't be like that in certain environments because they think you soft.
Yep.
They going to try to take advantage of that.
You food.
Yeah. And then in certain and in business and corporate environments, they wanted me to dumb it down. Like, nah, you know too much. Like, hold up. You know what I mean? Like, you making these white guys look bad. Like, who is this guy?
You got dreads, don't you?
What's going on with his hair?
Right. What's going on with his hair? Why are you speaking like this?
Yeah, and I had to break free from that. You know what I mean? I used to have tats back in the day, but they could all be covered up. So my tattoo on my hand was like liberating. Like it was a big deal, and that was recently, like 4 years ago. Damn. And when I got it, I was just like, damn, like I'm free. Like, wow. And then I went to Chick-fil-A and dude had a face tat. I was just like, oh shit, they don't even care no more.
Right. I could have kept my still.
Should have been got this.
Oh shit.
Thought you won and shit. They like the war over. I was like, oh damn, I thought we won today. War been over, bro. Like 3 years now. Where you been at?
Hey, you gotta catch up, Playboy.
Man,
right.
My bad.
You need to catch up. Oh boy.
Revolutionary moving on, bro. Come on. Like, shit.
Down there busy being a scientist.
I'm just making the t-shirts now, man. I was outside, like, when Obama got elected, like, we was marching, because, you know, Columbus, like, we heavy in the country for black people for police killing black people, especially black teenagers, black youth. Oh, man. So we was marching. We was outside. Nowadays, I'm old. I'm in my 30s, bro. I got kids. Like, I make the shirts. I provide the waters. Like, I did my time. I was on the front line. Like,
I did my time on the front line.
Yeah, like, don't call me for that no more. Don't call me after 6. I'm at home.
Right.
But meet me at 2. Come get these waters.
Right.
Stay hydrated out there.
Oh, man. Let me see. 2 more questions and we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make sure y'all go grab.
Please do.
The Spiritual Wolf King, Self-Help Guide to Loving Yourself and Finding Peace. Make sure y'all go grab that, man. Great reads.
Yeah.
You won't be disappointed. Tell them where they can get it again.
Amazon right now. I got some physical copies coming up. I'm gonna be promoting on my social media. Nice. GoodLife Russ. Yeah, and it's like 90 pages. Like it's an easy read.
I say if y'all can see,
I wanted to get to it.
It's not too, it's not.
I don't want it to be too intimidating. I wanted it to be somebody feels comfortable. Yeah, yep. Like at your pace too. Like take your time, but read it. You feel me? Like
definitely. Yeah, make sure I go ahead and grab that Spiritual Wolf King.
Yes, sir.
All right. Like 2 more questions, then we'll wrap it up here. Get you out of here. So you're a father.
Yeah.
Cause this is what I'm curious about for people who are parents in today's world. With all what's going on, you being a father, does the way society is now, does that make you concerned as a father for your children when they are, not home, obviously? Like
type, yeah.
Yeah,
it does.
I've always been curious about that because it seems like with with the shootings and these mass shootings in schools, and It's, you know,
it does, but I also like I have to remind people like that comes with the territory. Like it comes with parenting, and sometimes like that's what I mean by like the duality. You know what I mean? Some people look at things like parenting like, oh, it's just gonna be gumdropping rainbows, because you know what I mean. Like no, it still comes with hard times, and it still comes with humbling moments, and that's one of them. And luckily for me, like I've been in that environment. I grew up in that type of environment, so I'm used to that. So with my kids, I get it. That's why I used to have to tell all the women who's been in my life who just like, you know, you go out late with your guys, you've been out late, like, yo, I ain't trying to blow your phone up, but like I'm worried about like which, you know what I mean? I have to tell them like this, I get that, but like this is how it is. Like this is caring about somebody. You just care about them. That's cool. Yeah. That's okay to do that. Yeah. But also you got to realize, don't put that fear on them, and don't, you know what I mean? Don't speak that into existence. We speak positivity into existence. We don't talk about anything can happen. If you really want to break it down and you really want to be negative about some shit, anything can happen.
Yeah, but you don't want your children living in fear.
Yeah, so I tell them the truth, but also I remind them, like, you know what I mean? I'm going to worry about you naturally because you're my kids. Right. Like, I'm your father. It could be a safe world, and I'm going to worry about you. Yeah. So I don't focus on that. I focus on what I can do. I focus on what I can instill in them, so when they are out there, they're that's all you can do as a parent. Yeah. You can prepare your kid for the world, but you got to trust them that they follow, you know, this God, and they won't always follow that, but you gotta love them anyways. I think a parent and child is the only unconditional love in the world. Like you just love them anyways, and that's hard, that's humbling, but you gotta have humility yourself. You know what I mean? You can't love somebody if you don't know how to love yourself. So I love them, and I trust them because I trust myself. I trust that I've taught them enough that they gonna be cool, and if not, we gonna bounce back from it because I'm gonna be in your corner either way. That's parenting. You feel me?
Yeah. When you had your first one, when you found out you was gonna be a father, were you nervous?
I was afraid, man. I was afraid.
She told you like, hey,
moment, like I lost my first son. My first son passed. So
sorry to hear that, man.
Thank you. So I was afraid. So I got so prepared, and I read baby books, and I go to I'm that type of person. Like that's why I say I'm not a perfectionist, but I'm cautious. So I'm over prepared. He's over prepared. Everything, bro. One of my worst fears is locking my keys in the car. So I'm always like
patting.
Yeah, I'm just cautious. You know what I mean? So with that, I did everything that I know, like that I felt could help, and then I wasn't at the point in my life I was trying new things. So just the things that people would tell me, this helping parenting, I at least tried that, but it didn't. You know, in the grand scheme of things, it didn't matter. And then that affected like me and my next son, and then that's when I grew up because I was a little distant from him that first year because I was afraid to get too close to him because I was gonna lose him. You know what I mean? Wow. So it was like that PTSD of it. Like I don't want to keep going through this. Like this is you don't want to. A parent should never have to bury their child. So it's like, damn, I really don't want to go through this again. But I was so afraid I wasn't being there for him. You feel me? So what I learned is, like I said, no one's ever finished with anything. We constantly always going. You always learn to be a better parent. I always look back and question, like, damn, was I too harsh when I said that? Should I have came off a little warmer? You know what I mean? Softer? Did I spend more time? Should I spend more time with you? Should I call you? Like, that's parenting. You feel me? But I feel like good parents, like, reassure themselves that they doing a good job because they do the work. Like, because they're consistent, they show up on time, even on bad days, even on your sick days. Yeah, I love that. So it's still a battle. It'll never be perfect. I'm still not perfect. Yeah, I can still be a better dad. So that's what I strive for. You know.
Yeah, there's this one clip that you posted on your social media. I want to play it for people. Yeah, because I think it's super dope. It's you. Well, I'll just play it and we'll talk about it. But I think it's pretty fascinating.
Big rider out here. I'm a big podcaster, nigga. Anything I want is mine. I'm gonna have it. I'm taking that shit. I promise you. Just don't get in my way. I'm not stopping, dog. This is everything I've been dreaming for. It's everything I've been manifesting. It's everything I prayed for as a kid. It's mine. I'm taking it. I own it. I deserve it.
Let's go, Russ!
Yeah. Woo! That's how you talk your shit.
God
I'm a shit talker. I come from a legacy of shit talking.
I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, because like,
where'd that come from, man?
It's in there, you know what I mean? But I had to learn. I just learned to more contain. I feel like that's us as we mature. We just contain certain things, but that's the wolf. Like, it's in there. You feel me? And for me, it's like,
I'm like, that is a confident man right there.
Yeah, and that's what changes everything. And it's that frequency that you operating on, but more so for you, like, because a lot of times when we talking, people talking to themselves, and other people just get caught in the crosshairs, and they're like, you talking to me, but they was really talking to themselves, and they trying to either hype themselves up or they're upset at themselves. They projecting it onto somebody else. Yeah. So for me, like when I want something, like I gotta make sure I 100% want it, or I don't ask for it. There's no grace and humility in that. You feel me? You just asking for some shit. That's what Childs would do. So when you really gonna ask for it, you gotta say it like you mean it, like this is something you want, or is it something you really want? You know what I mean? If you can't put yourself in a different space, like you're not gonna get it. You're gonna keep getting what you got.
Don't play with it.
Yeah. But when you start taking it serious, it's gonna take you serious. When you start putting that energy into the world, that's how people gonna respond to you, and people are gonna look. They see that confidence. They see that because that's a certain frequency. Yeah. That's why music is so easy for us to remember. That's why, like to me, I tell people, music and food is like going to unite the world. It's gonna bring us all together.
Music and food.
So music is because of the frequency that it's on, and it does something to us internally. You know what I mean? We 70% water. We already know like how sound waves and shit work through water.
Vibration.
So all of that, all of that's magic. Like all that spirituality, like these are things we can actually affect and alter. That changes our mood. That changes our mindset. That makes us more confident in what we're saying. You know what I mean? And makes us more encouraged in what we're saying versus kind of doubting and kind of like second guessing and like, I kind of want this. Right. You don't want it. You feel me? And that's for you. That's for you to judge. That's for nobody else to hear. Like, you don't sound like you want it. You should hear that. Be like, damn, I don't sound like I want it. That's when your growth happens. When you start to check yourself. It's self-awareness. You know what I mean? And I'm all awareness. I'm hip to how I come out to people, whether I care or not. Like, I'm mindful of that. And when people respect how they, my space, I respect theirs. When you respect our conversation and how you carry yourself with me, I will do the same tenfold. I'm learning that when a person doesn't, I just have to learn just to remove myself completely.
That's it.
Sometimes you want to tussle a little bit, you want to argue and shit, but we gotta, like, that's maturing. I have to rise above that. You feel me? That doesn't suit me or serve me anymore. So I can't get mad at you like, yo, just stop arguing with me and I'll stop arguing back. No, there's no accountability in that. Like, I just need to take care of myself. I can't worry about nobody else and what they got going on. And that was hard for me because I'm an empath. I'm a feeler. I can feel what other people are going through. You know what I mean? And I want everybody to win. So that's a problem. So I had to learn with some people now through my growth, through my maturity, that I can want you to eat, but I don't mean I got to fix your plate. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, and that was a hard lesson for me because I didn't understand that. I was that person, like, we going to the top and I got 19 niggas with me. And they at the top, like, all of them ain't going, come on, bro.
Like, all of them gonna make it.
Nah, that's my cousin. That's my, I don't even remember dude, but he cool. And that's my,
I'll try to carry everybody. Good. Right, try to carry everybody.
They not good. And that's the life, and that's the magic, and that's the manifest. Those are the mantras. This is how I use it. This is how I choose it. And this is how I do therapy. Through I'm a visual, like, cinema's my number one thing. I watch so many movies and I'm locked in. You feel me? That's what I do.
Movies.
So that's how I speak to people, is in visions. I speak to them. That's why I do poetry. Like, I talk so you can see what I'm saying. You should be able to close your eyes and see what I'm saying. You dig? So, like, once people start getting to that point of manifesting, like, you have to look at your whole life different. You feel me? Like, your mind is like your whole body, your soul is like your home. You feel me? And then everything you gonna learn is like the value, the things you put in your home, your goal, whatever you want to put in your home. And the first thing you do when you get a home, you start putting valuable shit in there. You need more security. So that's the same thing with us. We need to protect our peace. We need to set boundaries with people, which is a tricky.
That's a whole other conversation.
Our generation, man. These are all the things we talk about on the show. These are things I will meet up with people to talk about after an event in the parking lot if they want to talk. Because I feel they need that. Like, we gonna talk. You know what I mean? That's my purpose. So it's like, when you keep building that home up, you're going to keep progressing. It's just a door. It's a room. You walk into a room and it's a door, and that door wants 100%. That's it. So you give it 100%, you open the door, you can walk through. So at some point, all of us is different. We get stuck in the room. We get comfortable in the room. And it's not because we love this room so much. It's because that door ain't opening. And we can't figure out why the door is not opening. And it's not opening because you're coming to the door with 98%. And you're trying to bargain that 98%. And it's almost enough and it's almost there. And it's your mindset that's keeping you out. Because it's not the 98% that should let you in. It's the 2% that's keeping you out. And as long as you neglect that 2%, you don't belong to go through. You're not supposed to go through this door. This is as far as you was going to go.
Man.
You get what I'm saying? So when we start understanding our mind in that way, when we tell ourselves, like, I want more money, I want a bigger house, you asking for stuff. Yeah. You asking for yourself to take on more responsibility. You asking for yourself to have to be a more disciplined individual. And that's anywhere. That's in the Bible. That's in any religion. They tell you that. You can't just pray for shit. You got to put in the work to get this. But also, you got to grow to be able to consume all of this.
You got to be ready to receive it.
Your stomach, your mouth, you know what I mean? Your eyes is bigger than your stomach, they say. That's what that is. Like, you want more than you can stomach right now.
What you going to do when you acquire
all that? That's not responsible. You know what I mean? And people wonder why things fall apart. It's because you're trying to shoulder more than you can. It's all breaking and falling apart. So we can humble ourselves, and that you can't move to point B until you know what point A is. So we got to humble ourselves and be able to say, like, an assessment, this is where I am in life. Yeah. This is what I'm good at. This is what I'm bad at. Yep. This is where I need to be spending most of my improvement. Yep. This is where I just keep consistency at.
And be honest about it.
And be honest. And if you can't even be honest about it, you're not ready to heal. And I'm that type of, again, I've been around. I'm that type of therapist. Like, I'll tell them, like, you're not trying to help yourself. I can't help you. I'm not going to come in here and waste your time.
You don't fake the funk.
Yeah, I'm not about to get you in here on appointments every 2 weeks all year. Like, if you're not even trying to, like, hold yourself accountable and accept, like, you're in here because of you. You ain't gonna be able to fix nothing. You wasting everybody's time, and you don't gotta waste. You don't got a lot to kick it with me. Right? You don't gotta waste my time.
Shout out to
do whatever you want with yours. Right. But mine is valuable. You know what I mean? So I had to humble myself to learn all these things because I just wanted to help everybody. Yeah. It was selfish. I just wanted to be a helper. Yeah. But you're not really helping people till you're helping the right people. You're not It's not the lesson you have as a teacher. It's who you're trying to teach it to.
There it is.
You feel me?
That's a word. That's a word. I love it. I love it. We end every show with this new segment, Russ. We got a new segment on the show.
Okay.
This is how we end each show. Shout out to FDZ Graffiti. For those who don't know, if you're locally out here in the Columbus area, she's been on the podcast as well. Nice. She is a dope, iconic graffiti artist out here in Columbus. She's pioneering the graffiti game as a woman. The only black woman out here that's doing this graffiti thing, and she's become an iconic figure and a pioneer, and she's super dope. So she helped me come up with a name for this segment because I told her the idea when she was on here, and she's like, just call it Guest to Guest Quest Bowl. I was like, I like that. So what it is, Russ. Mm-hmm. So you probably judge by the title, probably know what this is probably going to be. So, talking about the entertainment part. Because I think a lot of stuff we just spoke about was a little heavy. We had a little light moments in here. Yeah. So, we'll end it on a light note so people aren't just like, oh my God, there's a lot.
Well, ice cream cone here.
All right. Thanks for listening. So, with Guest to Guest Quest Bowl, so each guest that comes on the show that sits in that seat or that seat, at the end of the show, each guest writes and submits a random question into a bowl full of questions that each guest has came on, and the next guest has to answer whatever questions is in a bowl. So there's a bunch of questions in this bowl here, hidden behind my couch for those who can't see on YouTube. Actually, it's behind. Here it is.
You got the bowl ready.
Got the bowl ready. Yeah, I'll keep it down here. So for those who aren't watching on YouTube, explain what's going on here. So I got a bowl here. This is full of random questions from guests that sat in that very seat. I'm gonna hand this over to you, Russ. So what you gotta do is draw a question randomly. Don't look. You can't look. Okay. Just give it a little shake, a little shuffle. You know, you can toss them around a little bit. So I'm gonna do a little play-by-play. So right now, Russ has the bowl in his hand.
And I'm mixing up a little, shuffling the deck a little bit.
He's mixing the questions up. All right, he draw one. I'll take the bowl back. All right, so read it out loud for the people and answer honestly. Here we go.
Oh, man. Oh, okay. Basketball or football?
That's you got an easy one.
Basketball.
Of course.
You want me to get another one?
You could draw another one. That was kind of easy for you. Who's going to draw another one?
You want some spicy stuff.
Yeah.
Here you go. Put that joint back in there.
Let's see if you got to. Go ahead, read it out.
Have you ever had a threesome?
Oh, shit.
Absolutely. Hey, threesomes are amazing. Young fellas out there.
Let's go.
If missionary ain't enough, that sneaky link ain't enough, get two, man.
Hey, add the +1 in.
Get two, man.
Great times.
Yeah, man. They be saying one's not like a Valentine's Day gift, but two, Y'all better take that gift. You better cash that in.
You showed out.
You better use that coupon, man.
Yes.
Yeah, nah, it's worth it. It's adventurous, but I'm an adventurous person. Like I said, I'm a hippie.
Yeah.
I'm straight out the 70s, the Renaissance. Like,
right.
Yeah. Nah, we don't have too much fun.
Right. You're not closed
But we have
off.
fun. I feel like you work hard, you play hard. You know what I mean?
There you go. You gotta enjoy your life a little bit.
Yeah. I just like being spontaneous.
I love
I'm that
it.
type of person, yeah.
Yeah. For the women who are watching, can they slide in DMs?
Oh, absolutely. Hey.
Women that probably...
We could be friends at first. I gotta vet anybody I meet. So they all start off at the same point.
They're like, oh, he tall too.
And either somebody come out there like, all right, you work Monday, or they like, we'll call you. Don't call us. We'll call you. You never seen this place.
The DMs are open, ladies. There you go.
Oh, listen, I write erotica too. I used to write that in high school.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So I got some steam coming next year. Oh, I'm about to be dropping books. Like, I said, I'll be in the lab, so I just work. Like,
working.
So it's a lot coming out. Yeah,
I love
for sure.
it, man. I love it. I appreciate you for coming on, man. More importantly, I appreciate you for reaching out, man.
Absolutely.
Because that's what it's all about. Reaching out, networking, crossing paths, and just always just spreading the good energy. Because I think we don't do that enough.
I agree.
I think like this should be an example for if y'all haven't got anything out of this, just let that be example. Like don't be afraid to politic with people. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to if you're in the need of like, hey, I need a mentor or I'm interested in that, but I don't know how to go about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't start off just magically this person. He took those baby steps. You got to take those steps to do something. So if you're, if anyone's out there listening who's in that stage where you want to go after something, but you're not sure or how to, just know that there's no formula to it. There's no perfect way to do it. You just got to get out there and just put the work in and do it. Just take that step. And like we were talking about earlier, got to be accepting that sometimes there's going to be no's. Yeah. So, hopefully that's, if y'all haven't got anything away from it, this conversation, take those steps, whether you don't know what the outcome is or if you don't even think you're prepared, go, man. Life's short, man. Yeah. Nothing is promised. So, any last word for this people, Russ? Yeah, before we get out of here.
I'm just gonna piggyback on what you said because everything you said was on point and it's something I stick to. And as soon as I heard it resonate. But Jim Jones has said recently, like when you can't stay motivated, stay consistent. You know what I mean? And that's volumes, bro. Like that speaks everything. So yeah, like just keep going. Yeah, you ain't always gonna see the end, the goal, the finish line, but just keep it's out there. Keep going,
man. And with that, we're gonna sign off. This has been another episode of Club Talk Podcast. Shout out to Russ. Make sure you go ahead and grab the book, The Spiritual Wolf King: Self-Help Guide to Loving Yourself and Finding Peace. Where can they grab it again?
Amazon. Type that in, that Spiritual Wolf King. Make sure y'all follow me on all platforms. GoodLife Russ. Good Kickback on Instagram. And the GoodLife Podcast, the Kickback on Facebook. And I will be setting up readings and book signings. So.
Nice. Any poetry shows coming up? Performing?
Yeah, so I do poetry shows every Thursday. Pure Ultra Lounge. Nice. Yeah, over by Afrocentric. So I do those every Thursday, 7 to 11 p.m. open mic. So people can come out, propose. You can come out, sing One Wish by Ray J. You can do whatever you want.
Nice. Open forum.
Yeah, just have fun. And we come out to listen and learn. We're learning how to respect each other's voice and you know what I mean, and listen more. So
nice. I love that. All right, man, we out. Another episode of Club Talk Podcast. Peace.